and then we kind of locate them based on the areas that we're working at. If we have an area that's affected, we'll create a containment. So we'll basically quarantine that area from the rest of the house. So when we're lifting the material, it doesn't have a lot of areas to go, the spores to go. We're basically contain it to that area.
Okay. So usually, do you feel like it's more like the older houses, I would assume, or do you think like even some of the new houses get?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both.
It's just so fast that they build them too, right?
They build them too fast. Which basically they lift the structural material. They might leave it wet at that point. And then there's potentially issues with even the slab not letting it cure correctly, or the mixture of the concrete might allow more moisture to come in.
Wow, yeah.
If you don't put the flooring correctly, that could cause issues, and we've had that issue. We've had those issues before. A lot of new builds, especially more high end, they like to use spray foam insulation, which is great for insulation. But if there's a roof leak or there's a vent that wasn't sealed correctly, that spray foam insulation is just going to hold the water and not go through. So it might be sitting there for a long time.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have a roof decking that is obviously organic because it's wood, and you have water underneath between the roof decking and your insulation. So that's going to create mold growth.
Wow.
So the moment that penetrates through the spray foam, then at that point that exposes additional damages at that point. So, and there's a lot of issues. I mean, it's all more for, I would say, making sure that you know what the build of your house to understand what are potential issues, and make sure that you use trades that they understand what could be potential issues. We have HVAC companies that we work with, that there's a lot of outside air and all that comes into the system to kind of helps it. Sometimes if that fails, then now you have a lot of outside air. Obviously, if you have a humid day or you have a very, I'm going to call it moldy day, then you have a lot of stuff coming into your AC system, which is going to create issues into your AC system, and then it's going to create issues into your house. So there's a lot. I wouldn't say that it's not necessarily now that you're past 2020 builds, we're gonna see less, because we see it even at even newer builds. We've seen that. And then also is the retrofitting of an older house to try to fit with spray foam insulation, kind of create that envelope. Those houses back in the day were made more to breathe. So when you're trying to create an envelope, you're trying to close them up. There's a lot more work than just putting spray foam.
Yeah.
So that's something that people need to be aware of, because that could cause potential issues. It's not necessarily gonna be set in stone, but that could cause potential issues.
Yeah. So what do you think that homeowners could do to kind of prevent some of those things? Like, is there anything that you recommend, or?
So basically, the simplest thing to recommend is obviously always check and I want to be simple. You check your water bill to make sure that your water is not going up, because at that point that might be a slow leak that you have. Check a lot of people have smart thermostat right now. Check your humidity. Make sure your humidity is below 55%.
Gotcha.
If it's too high, then that means that you're allowing humidity to be in your house, which will help mold to grow. So keeping your AC running, keeping your AC clean. Your AC, it's an equipment that helps you control the temperature of your home, but it also helps control your environment. So it helps control the humidity. It helps clean the air as well. That's why you have to change your filter. So make sure you're changing your filters. Make sure you're using the right filter. Do not, and this is kind of more, I'm not an HVAC technician, but this is what we deal with a lot. If you use like the 1-inch bleeder filters, and if you use the MERV that's very high, depends on your system, that might be clogging the system because it's not letting enough air go through. And if you use it too low, it might actually let a lot of air go through, which might cause the AC to cause condensation, to allow spores to come in and not clean it and then disperse it everywhere throughout the home. So it's always talking to the trades and see how they can help, how doing small things for your house can help in the long term. So yeah.
Gotcha. Is there anything, I guess, I'm like so mind blown about the new construction builds. I'm like, wow, I didn't think about all that, that people, like, can people do stuff throughout that process, I guess, like to make sure those things are prevented? I know like it's like the people actually building the house can.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I'm not that involved on the builds.
Yeah.
But obviously, I would say the inspector also looks for water damage. Or also looks for evidence of water damage.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that a home inspector might look for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's not. You don't need to replace one for the other.
Yeah.
But having both will kind of give you a little bit more sense of security.
Yeah.
Again.
That like peace of mind.
Yeah. Again, if you put spray foam insulation on a wet start, it might take a while for that to come to fruition. Mm-hmm. But it might actually help to get that testing done.
Yeah.
And the cost associated with it might give you a little bit more peace of mind. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, everything here looks fine. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Gotcha. So if you're watching, get a mold test.
Yes. If you're watching, you're concerned about it, and get mold testing and see what's all about. There's a lot of mold testing that you can do in house. Mm-hmm. The problem with mold testing in house is that it tells you if there's mold present in the house, which doesn't necessarily tell you that there's mold present in high concentrations. Right now, between you and me, there's mold spores.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we're going to have a reaction to it, because the concentration in the air is not substantially higher, and the mold spores that are between you and me right now might not be the mold spores of concern. So they're I don't even want to know how many mold spores there are, but we concentrate on looking at anywhere from 4 to 6 mold types. They're what we call them water molds, essentially, which whenever somebody calls, I see black mold, that doesn't tell us anything. That just tells us that you have mold. I don't know what type, and I don't know how much. What I see, but they said what I see it's like, that's great that you see it, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how much there is, and I don't know how bad it is. So that's why we recommend always to do our mold inspection, because that's going to help us set a baseline for what we're seeing. And there's sometimes where we come in and we see mold type number 1, let's say, and we see at a concentration that's elevated, but once we open it, now we see more. Because it's all hidden behind the walls.
Gotcha.
So that's just because you see something doesn't mean that that's the only thing that's there.
Yeah, and so like you said, there's 6 types. It's like it ranked like 1 being the less severe and 6 being pretty out there.
Well, I mean, there's some mold type that usually about 6 types that we look at. There are 4 more that we're more concerned about and concentrate about. What everybody talks about when they see black mold is what's called stachybotrys. And then the other one that's of high concern is called cutomium. Some people call it chutomium or something like that, but I call it cutomium. And then the other 2 are combinations. One is cladosporium, and the other one what I call aspen, which is Aspergillus penicillum. It's a combination of both.
Gotcha. That's the least nice aspen.
Yes, penicillum is obviously what some people are allergic to penicillum. So obviously that's that mold.
Yeah.
So basically, depends on your mold consultant. They'll define levels for each of them. So penicillium and cladosporium, they're okay living in the air that we breathe. They're okay. They prefer living in organic material, but they're okay living in the air that we breathe. Yeah. And they're more on the exterior. You usually see them more on when you see something on the wall. That's most likely one or the other. For us to achieve a level of clean air, and I'm putting clean air in air quotes because not necessarily completely clean, but below levels that are acceptable. You have to have at least 600, 650, depends on depends on the criteria of the consultant. But it's something like that work. The other 2, cutomium and stachy, you can only have, and they usually compare that to the exterior air. Because sometimes if you're testing exterior air, and let's say you have a lot of high counts of aspen, and let's say you come into a house and you see that the windows are open, and you see that you're opening and closing the doors, and then they're concerned about the kitchen. The kitchen is literally the second room in the house. They might rethink about taking an area sample at that point inside. They might take it in the cabinet, under the kitchen cabinet. They might close it to see that, because at that point you have a little bit of buffer between the outside air and inside. Yeah. But if you test the outside air and the windows are open, you test the inside air, that air is potentially the same at that point. So you're not going to be able to differentiate, is this coming from the moldy day, or is this coming from the inside of the house? Yeah. Unless you see different mold types. If you were
okay.
to see different, that's where the list of molds kind of help with the different mold, because at that point, if you see aspen, acospore, and basilospore outside, and inside you see aspen at about the same level, maybe a little bit higher, but you see stachy, Coutomium, Cladosporium, that wasn't outside, then you can say, yeah, there might be an issue.
So you're going to differentiate it. Yeah.
But it's going to be harder to kind of differentiate what's going on at that point.
Yeah. Wow.